Hi, I'm Eleanor, and welcome to the Intuition Lab. This week, I'm going to be talking about your energetic five state, which is a baseline state where you can hear your intuition clearly, change your life through making conscious, calm, aligned decisions without fear or overthinking, and really be able to see the truth clearly about a situation. So let's get into it. What is the energetic five state? I see it as your energetic baseline. It's, like I said, where your best decisions are made. But in this state, you are calm yet alert, a little excited, but not overly cranked. So, a sort of heightened calm state, fresh with possibility, but not overexcited or incredibly depressed. Because when we are wired in some way or feeling extremely low, we tend to ignore our own best interests. So, I call the energetic five state basically a state of flow. It is a very calm state of flow. So, if we think about a 0 to 10 energetic scale, where 0 is no energy, where you're flat on your back, just depressed, barely moving, and 10 is you're completely wired, you're very excited, exuberantly happy, you're very, very angry in the throes of some powerful, energizing emotion. You want to be around a 5, and I would give it a range is like a 4.5 to a 5.5 in terms of being flat on your back or completely cranked in some way, because like I said, it's where your best decisions are made. What does it feel like? It can feel like sitting on a park bench overlooking a beautiful view or maybe the water, just looking out at life and observing it and watching it go by and knowing that you're a part of it, but you're not too bound to any one thing. It's like you sit there and you watch people walk or skate or bike or whatever by, and you're just taking it in and processing it. Like if you could imagine yourself in such a state, that's pretty much what it feels like. Just maybe even after a long day of work, where maybe you're a little tired, but not flat out tired, and you're just relaxing with your beverage of choice on a back porch, or maybe a front porch if you have one, and you're just sort of taking life in. You're not really pondering anything too weighty, you're just vibing. So that's basically the state you want to be in when you really need to make a decision or you want to hear your intuition clearly at first. With practice, and some of us just naturally have the ability, but with practice, you can get into this state so you can hear your intuition clearly in a variety of circumstances. But it's important to establish this baseline so that you know what your energetic five feels like. So, how would you get there? So I think the classic way is to sit and meditate, which I do. I have a daily meditative practice. It might surprise you to know that I usually just meditate for 15 minutes in the morning, and sometimes I will do a bit extra during the day. But whatever the amount of time you need to just, you know, turn inward and calm yourself, and it doesn't have to take very long. You can start out with a couple of minutes if that's what you can manage and work your way up. If you are able to sit for longer periods, that's great. But just know that a few minutes in quiet contemplation can really stand you in good stead for being able to sit in your own energy, you know that what you are tuning into is you and not the expectations or just flack energy, as I might call it, the debris, the energetic debris people shed when they are wound up in themselves and just spewing it onto other people. This way, you're just grounded in that. But not all of us get into a flow state by meditating. For some of us, it requires action. I would also say it can also be achieved through any sort of repetitive activity. So, about the action part, for some of us, we tap into that flow state best when we're in motion. So, walking, working out, running, that I wouldn't even say it's the runner's high. It's that steady state where you are just moving down the road or down the trail and you feel your arms pumping and your legs moving, you're breathing, and the scenery is passing by, and you just kind of feel one with it, right? You don't feel that rush of endorphins, you just feel like you're in the zone. Also, repetitive tasks. Sometimes I go into a five state when I'm doing something like washing dishes after dinner, or cleaning the house, or sorting through piles of mail or other paper that have just been lying around. But something repetitive. So maybe if you knit or crochet, or there's some handcraft you do, that is a way of getting into the five state. So now that we've established what it is and how to get into it, what is the benefit of being there? Well, one, we're so often pulled off course by something we hear or something we read or see online, or just being around people who have their own drama going on, or maybe it's your own drama going on. And you would just like to reset and get rid of all of that and not be depressed or fatalistic, right? If I think if you're less than a five, and not feel irrationally positive about things. If you are much past a six, right? Or just incredibly angry and thinking that everything's going to hell in a handbasket. It's a good way to rid yourself of outside influences so that you can, one, hear your intuition clearly, two, you can assess a situation openly and honestly without wishful thinking or, pessimism or other people's expectations or it went this way before creeping in. You can be calmly objective. And even if you know that, even if in this five state and you think about something you have going on, your intuition tells you, this isn't going to work out the way you've hoped. You're better able to process whatever information you receive without injecting your own wants and desires into it. I mean, of course, we all have things that we want. And, the danger when you are wired is that you think you can force it through. And if you're depressed, you think, well, I shouldn't even try because it's not going to work out. This calm state helps you to be free of strong emotions. It helps you to not only hear your intuition, but to know if it's actually your intuition or anxiety or fear, which I spoke about in a previous episode, which I'll link to in the show notes. How to distinguish between those voices. When you're in a five state, you can hear your intuition. It'll be on the calm spectrum. You'll know if it's fear because it will be, if we're using the 0 to 10 scale, it will be less than a 4.5. Um, Anxiety will take you into 6, 7, maybe even 8 on the 10 scale in terms of energy, just feeling like you're spinning. The five state is a great place also to work on tasks that you have been putting off. And I am guilty of this. I have things on my to-do lists that roll over from day to week to month, sadly. There's some things I've put off for a couple of years. And being in a five state helps me to not only assess what needs to be done and to determine its urgency, but to also undertake the task. Sometimes when we put off doing things that we know we're being guided to do, there is often a lot of recrimination and self judgment that comes about when we finally start doing it. Like, oh, great, you're doing it now, but it should have been done 6 months ago. While that may be true, you're doing it now. Being in the five state helps you to shed the judgment and just get on with it. Just get in, get out, and do the thing. So, do you have a way of getting into your energetic five state? Do you know what your five state feels like? I would encourage you to take some time this week to sit quietly and see if you can get into that state. And also to experiment. If you're someone like me who tends to sit a lot and likes to meditate and then just to be still, challenge yourself to see if you can get into your five state while in motion. Now, granted, I also talked about getting into it during doing repetitive tasks. I mean, obviously, don't do it if you are driving. Sometimes, if I'm driving a long distance, I'll start to zone out a bit. The road just looms before you, especially if it's a big, open, empty road. Don't do that. If you do repetitive work that requires operating heavy machinery, please stay alert. You don't want to lose focus for a second and end up harming yourself. But I challenge you to get into this flow state while you're moving. So maybe if you are, I don't know, it's spring where I am. So there's still some leaf litter to clear away, or you're doing gardening, see if you can get into a five state doing a task like that. Maybe you're planting a row of something, right? Like bulbs. So it's easy to just have like a production line feel to it. You insert the little tool that creates the hole for the bulb to go in. You plant and cover and plant and cover. It's repetitive, right? See if you can get into a five state there. See if you can get into a five state in a situation where you're annoyed, like waiting in line at the grocery store or at a coffee shop or something. If you normally are perturbed by having to wait, then see if you can sort of recycle your energy and get into that five state while you're standing in line. Why am I prompting you to do this? Because inevitably you will be in the thrall of some strong emotion and you'll want to hear your inner guidance. And even for someone like me who's been lucky enough to hear it clearly all my life, you really want to be able to tune in. You really want to be able to access this point of calm during a crisis or just during a casual upset, or if you get a nasty surprise. You want to be able to regain your equilibrium and assess your situation clearly and make choices based on that. It's really a gift to yourself. Your intuition, your higher self, your inner guidance and source, and all of that wants you to be at peace. And some of us have a higher threshold in terms of energetic states for being at peace. Some people thrive and are at peace in environments that others would brand toxic or dysfunctional, right? We all have our own internal settings. So that's why it's up to you to determine what your five state feels like to you. That's the other thing. What I construe as my five state may be very different from yours, but we're all going to show up in the same way. We're all going to have that calm presence, that ability to rationally and clearly hear intuitive guidance, regardless of whether or not it's something we want to hear or something we do not want to hear. We'll have the ability to hear something and verify its validity or truth or how much it pertains to us. That is the beauty of the five state. That is why you can change your life in that state, because many of us make decisions through fear, anxiety, lack, envy, jealousy, and in the end, they don't serve us. And even if they serve us in the short term, quite often in the long run, it creates problems that we can't imagine, and then we have to diffuse years sometimes down the line. So, when I say that being at your energetic baseline before you make a strong decision or you try in vain to hear your intuition, just get into this state. It will change your life because you will make aligned decisions. You will react from a place of balance. Any action you take from this state will almost always be in your immediate best interest. And even if things seem to go a little haywire, it will be in service of your greater good. And that's something I'm going to touch on in another episode. But for now, I hope this has given you an overview of the energetic five state, how to enter it, and also how to apply it in your day to day life. So if you are having a hard time slipping into your energetic five state, I invite you to message me either on Instagram or through my Facebook page. And I think if you are listening on a platform like Spotify, you can comment on the actual episode below and let me know. And I would love to help you find your energetic five state. In the meantime, if this has helped you in any way, I would really appreciate it if you would rate the show, share it with your friends and loved ones or anyone you think could benefit from it, and subscribe. And I'll talk to you soon. Bye.